Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a 105 leFH18B2, the French Tier 5 premium SPG that we know as Fifi La Pew Pew, but most other players know as a leFhy or a leaf blower, or if you happen to be Jingles, leFH because he can't pronounce it. Or rather, he doesn't want to pronounce it actually because he fears these things. Yes, they are the best Arty for some people, not for everyone though. This Arty has got a 105mm howitzer as its main armament and should actually be in the German tech tree, but Wargaming in their wisdom put it into the French tech tree, and they did that because they were launching the French tech tree at the time, which was new to the game. Now this one is on the northeast corner of Highway and it's under the command of Moose. Yep, we're featuring a number of his replays. He sent in a large number actually. In fact, he usually does send in quite a few, but some of them are really good games, and I think you'll enjoy this one. Well, this Arty is actually based on the Panzer, Panzer B2, but it's actually a Char B1 in other disguise. What the Germans did is they stripped off the turret and they mounted an artillery piece where the turret would normally be, and they took out the 76mm gun. Was it 75mm? I think it was a 75mm gun in the hull of the vehicle. Well, you can see Moose has gone to battle assistant to shoot at this leopard. First round's in. Oh, and he kills him with his first shot. Well, yeah, some people have all the luck, and it looks like Moose has it on this occasion. He did see a Chaffee for a brief moment, but that guy quickly disappeared into cover. Okay, the next target's an M4A1 right up the north end, or up the northwest end of the map. Rounds out. Oh, it lands nearby. Now these shells will do 410 alpha. They penetrate 53mm of armour and they've got a burst radius of 1.91 meters. So if you could land a shell near the target, you can probably track him. Oh, that shell landed just behind the M4. He keeps moving, and that's the wise thing to do, because if you've got an Arty firing at you, if you keep moving, it makes it difficult for them to pin you down until that happens and you get tracked. And at that point, you are dead meat, because unless you repair your tracks, you are going to go down. You can see that Moose is firing round after round into that guy, but she switched to another target, a Wolverine, who was much closer, and yeah, he's got another kill. And in fact, he spotted an M10 RBFM, which is basically an M10. Oh, and that one dies before his shell even gets there. I think he wanted to go after those guys simply because they were a greater threat to him than the M4A1 and the Valiant over the other side of the map. Okay, in town, we're now looking at a T-34 making his way through the city, and he's just killed a Churchill 3 on our team. But he's turning back to deal with our other heavies, or our mediums actually, because we've lost all the heavies. And now Moose is going after the M4A1 down this end of the map. It's not the same one as before. Oh, narrowly misses that one. It was just a little bit late. He's going to line up the shell to land alongside that T-34, hoping he's going to go through that gap. But it looks like he's pulling back because he knows our M4A1 is nearby. Okay, Moose is lining up the shot now because he knows two tanks are about to go through. Unfortunately, that shot missed, but he's going to have another go at the T-34, and that misses. Now got an M4A1 in the gap, and they're pulling through that gap quickly to avoid getting hit. Unfortunately, he didn't get any damage off those, and in fact the bad news now is that there's nobody between us and the enemy except the M4A1 we've still got in the town and a Covenanter. So he's going to have to move to get to cover, otherwise he might be the next victim. Now it doesn't move particularly quickly. The top speed on this tank is 28 kilometers an hour forwards, 10 backwards. But if you're in a light tank, you don't want to ram one of these, because if you do, you'll probably die. It's a heavy tank in disguise, So never ram one of these vehicles. So just going to give the Arty player a medal if you do, because he will survive and you won't. I mean, saying that, I am an Arty player and I do want you to ram these tanks, because obviously I want you to die, but yeah, I wouldn't advise anyone to do it really. It's not a very good thing to do. And we always call it the bugs on the windshield moment. Well, that chappie's bit the dust. That's the same chappie who tried to do the spotting run earlier in the game, and unfortunately now he's out of the game altogether. Now most of the enemy tanks are in the town have been wiped out, so the good news is that we're now able to fire at the guys on the west side of the map without having to worry about what might be coming from our left hand side. There's the M4A1. That's the same one we fired at before. We're just getting it dialed in. The trick to any Arty play is having the patience to let the aim dial in on a target and then selecting where to aim. That is, trying to work out what the enemy tank's going to do and then aiming at the spot so that they will literally walk into the shell when you fire it. Okay, that Valiant, you see, is moving towards us quite quickly, so he has to lead the target because the shell takes 2 seconds to reach him. So in 2 seconds he's going to move a few meters. That Valiant's now halted and now he's dead. If a tank becomes stationary at any moment, then it becomes extremely vulnerable to Arty fire if the Arty can get a shot at them. But if they're in cover like this, it can be very difficult to take them out. That M4A1 is safe so long as he stays alongside the building, but he won't be able to do it for much longer because the Valiant is side scraping, using the building as cover. Oh, he's just got stunned by enemy Arty, but he's just taken out the M4A1, and that means now there's only 5 enemies remaining. 3 tank destroyers and 2 Arty. And tank destroyers are an M10 RBFM, an Su-85 and a T-67. Now those tank destroyers, the worst one really that he could come across is T-67, mainly because it's very quick and it's got a very deadly gun. And he actually is just short of the town at the moment, but he's very low on hit points. And Moose is lining up a shot, but he stops suddenly and changes direction. That's another trick that Arty players have to, well, take into account when they're working out where to put the shell. He's guessing where the T-67 is at the moment because he can't see him. He's waiting for somebody to reacquire him. He's guessing again. No, and another couple of tank destroyers have been spotted, or in fact one tank destroyer has been spotted. The Su-85. Okay, he fires a quick round in there, hits the support of the water tower, and unfortunately we just lost our M10 RBFM to the enemy Griller. He fires another round in, again he misses it. Very difficult when they are hiding in cover like that, but he's going to keep trying. And he got him! Lovely shot. That was a blind hit there. He worked out where he should actually put the shell. And good Arty players can actually work out where the enemy's likely to be. Place the round in there. If they can get it close enough to the target, they'll wipe them out. If it's got enough splash. But in this occasion, it looks like he actually did hit that Su-85 with a direct hit, and that was enough to take him. Well, we've got 2 tanks headed for the enemy cap. One in the city who doesn't really want to come out because of the T-67. And of course we've got our fellow Arty in the M41 staying back at our cap. Moose has got 5 kills at the moment. He'd like another one to get the top gun. And there's the M10. Rounds out. Long flight time for the shell. He missed with that one because the M10 repositioned. But he's going to go for it again. Rounds out this time. Should kill. It does! And that's a top gun. He stays still long enough. Moose was patient enough to dial in on the target. And the good thing about the Fifi is that it does dial in on a target very, very quickly. As you can see here, that wasn't fully dialed in actually, and that's why the shell missed. But the reload time is very quick as well, 7.51 seconds. There's only one enemy left. They've killed the T67. They're looking for the last enemy, the M41 HMC, and they think he's going to be somewhere over this side. Is he going to be in that corner? Yes, he is. Rounds out. Long flight time. He gets a big hit for 127, but it's the T67 that claims the kill. I don't think Moose would mind about that, because after all, he's got his Top Gun, but at least he got most of the hit points out of that one. So let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Well, this was a good game for Moose. A second-class tanker, not an ace tanker. Well, it does take a lot more to get an ace tanker in the 105 leFH18B2. He got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 7 in this one. He got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. And he got a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. And it looked at one point like it could go the wrong way. But luckily one of his teammates was up to the task of taking out all the enemy tanks that were in town. And thankfully that gave Moose the opportunity to get his Top Gun later on with some lovely shots. Let's have a look at the team score and see where he stands. Well, he got 1,837 hit points of damage in that game. 1,522 went to the T67 on his team, and 1,304 to the M4 Sherman. When it came to kills, he had the highest number with 6. The M4 Sherman had 3, and the T67 had 3 in them. A bit sad really that he couldn't platoon with these two guys, because Trooper Seiko, the T67, was already in platoon with the Churchill 3. And therefore, if they had been able to platoon, that would have been a brothers in arms and a crucial contribution to all 3 of them at the same time. But as it was, he could have platooned with the M4 Sherman and they would have had 9 kills and got a brothers in arms each. But I think in the heat of things, it wasn't thought about, or he tried and he couldn't get the platoon because the other player was refusing platoons. When it came to base XP, he's got the highest on that as well, so he's got the top in all 3 columns. 889 goes to Moose, 780 goes to the M10 RBFM, and 710 goes to the M4 Sherman. He fired 30 rounds in that game, got 8 direct hits, 6 penetration, and 7 splash. That's a lot of penetrations for this Arty, especially considering how Wargaming has persistently nerfed Arty over the years. 1,837 hit points of damage, all of it done at more than 300 meters. He hit 9 of the enemy, killed 6 of them, and did 65 hit points of damage assistance. On a premium count, he earned 29,791 credits, and after repair and ammunition resupply and consumables, took away a profit of 20,847 credits. He received 889 XP, times 2 for the first victory, 1,334 from personal reserves, 2,668 from personal missions payout, and 534 because this is a premium vehicle, one of only 2 premium Artys in the PC game. And his total came to 7,204 experience points altogether. So a very good game for Moose, but yep, we've got more replays from him, and one of those is actually in the PP as well. So stick around and we'll see how he gets on in the next game. Thanks for watching.